السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله رب المشارق والمغارب، خلق الإنسان من طين لازب ثم جعله نطفة بين الصلب والترائب، خلق منه زوجه وجعل منهما الأبناء والأقارب، وصلى اللهم وسلم وبارك على قائدنا محمد وعلى أصحابه الأجلاء وعلى السائرين على دربه والداعين بدعوته إلى يوم اللقاء. ما تعاقب الصبح والمساء وما دام في الكون ظلمة وضياء. It's an honor to be with you again today, and I want to welcome you all and Jum'ah Mubarakah for you all. And may Allah bless us with forgiveness. And we have today a special guest who is an active Imam in London and across the UK. He accompanies individuals in their personal and spiritual development. He has led several of the main Muslim organizations, including student Islamic societies, as the president of the Muslim Association of Britain, the Deputy Secretary General of MCB, as well as a trustee of MINAB, Muslim Welfare House, and EIHS. Sheikh Omer El-Hamdoon is a double qualified with master in both dentistry and Islamic studies. As a Muslim scholar, he has contributed through his traditional yet modern discourse in providing contextual analysis for some of the issues affecting modern societies, relevant solutions for challenges facing Western Muslims. Inshallah, Sheikh Omer El-Hamdoon will talk today about Ramadan, Month of Victory, Ramadan, Shahrul Nasr. Without further ado, I will pass the stage to our beloved brother, dear Omer El-Hamdoon. تفضل شيخنا.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن سن بسنته واهتدى بهديه إلى يوم الدين. My dear respected brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept from us and from you the good deeds in these days. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us and you in this great day, the day of Al-Jumu'ah, asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us amongst those who benefit from the opportunities and benefit from the great occasions that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. The topic today is Ramadan, the month of victory. And this topic, no doubt we can look at it from a number of perspectives. One perspective, which is quite usual that people will speak about, is the perspective of the historic battles that happened in the month of Ramadan. Because we know in Ramadan there were several battles throughout the history of Islam which were quite decisive battles that happened in the month of Ramadan, giving us an indication that this month is not a month of inactivity, it's not a month of laziness, it's not a month of holding back. Rather, it is a month of production, achievements, and victory. And indeed, some of the great battles include the Battle of Badr, the conquest of Mecca, Al-Qadisiyya, in which the Persian Empire began to collapse, the conquest and defeat of the Goths in Spain, Andalus, the Battle of Hittin, the Battle of Rhodes, Ain Jalut, and so on. There are many aspects that we can talk about. However, what I have decided to talk about, and I think is more important for us, is the more important victory in our life. Because yes, history is important and stories are important, and there are many lessons that can be derived from both history and from the stories. The most important question is, how do those reflect back on me as an individual? What is my personal victory, if you like? How can I make Ramadan my personal victory? And without doubt, if one is victorious, one can defeat all the negativities, all the enemies that surround him, all those that put him down, then victory will be very close. And whilst we are talking about the battle, or why we mentioned the Battle of Badr, there is much to learn from the great lessons that are associated with the battle for our personal use. And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent a whole surah, which is Surah Al-Anfal, surah number 8, which actually talks about the battle in a very concise way. But what is more important, and this is the perspective as well that I'm sharing with you here, is that the Quran focuses on the lessons that are to be taken from this battle, focusing on how the lessons can make our victory a personal one. And so inshallah, I'm gonna just go over this chapter very briefly and look at how this chapter gives us those necessary elements for personal victory. And I have summarized very briefly, and obviously time is short, but it's good to have a comprehensive outlook as an introduction to this topic. There are 27 points, which, if we look into this concept, and I obviously run through them very quickly, we can understand how we can achieve that victory. First of all, it's about shaping your mindset, because to be victorious, you have to be associated with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You have to be linked to Allah. And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from the beginning of this surah, he talks about the importance of Iman and having the Iman in Allah and His Messenger, having Iman in Allah and the final day. Because having that link to Allah enables you to understand that victory comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's why Allah later on says, وَمَا النَّصْرُ إِلَّا مِنْ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ. The victory only comes from Allah. So if you want that victory, whether it's personal, whether it's on a community basis, it has to come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So number one, you have to be linked to Allah. And that brings us to number two, which is that you have to rely on Allah, this trust in Allah. وَعَلَىٰ رَبِّهِمْ يَتَوَكَّلُونَ. There has to be not only that Iman should automatically rely you to trust on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because He is the source of victory. He is the one who makes things happen. So if you do not trust in Allah, if you do not turn to Allah, then you are less likely to achieve your victory. Thirdly, there is an important source as well for our victory, which is that endless source of energy, which comes again from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that's through our connection to Allah. How do we connect to Allah? The most prominent way is salah. And that's why, again, in the beginning of this surah, Allah reminds us about salah. الَّذِينَ يُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ, to establish salah. And many times you would have heard that Allah in the Quran doesn't say الَّذِينَ يُصَلُّونَ, those who just pray, but الَّذِينَ يقيمون, they establish salah. Salah is a system, it's an institution that you have to establish within your life. And it has to have that connection. If you have that connection through salah, you will get so much. And today, a lot of people, most of us, don't really get the power from the salah because we're not linked positively through the salah. So it's very important for us to learn about salah, to learn how we can get better at salah and to have that daily connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's not just a set of motions, it's not just words that we say, but it's that link to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Fourthly, you have to give as you intend to receive. And to receive, you must give. And that's why if you want victory, victory can only come with people who have the mindset that they want to give others. They want to relate to others. They want to reach out to others. Not people who just are selfish. Yes, we're talking about personal victory, but your personal victory comes when others are victorious around you. And that's important. That's why Allah, after mentioning salah, He mentions, وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ. What we have given them, they spend. And here, the most prominent way of spending is giving your wealth, money, because obviously money is material, something that you can feel and sense and be able to give. But not only that, you also, Allah has provided you with knowledge. Allah has provided you with a tongue. Allah has provided you with strength. Allah has provided you with energy. Allah has provided you with so many things. You have to give from those things as well. Fourthly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala teaches us that people are not going to be equal. People are not going to be equal in their endeavors. Let's be honest about this. And let's be clear about this. Not everyone who believes in Allah and believes in the Prophet ﷺ and believes in the final day are going to do the same work. People are going to be difficult. People are going to be different in their attitudes, in their outlook. And that's why there is darajat. And Allah mentions this. لَهُمْ دَرَجَاتٌ عِنْدَ رَبِّهِمْ. There are levels. And not surprisingly, the more you put in of effort, the more that you strive, the more that you tire, the more that you sweat, the more that you strain and you give, the more your level is going to be. And that's for anything in life. The more you put in, the more you're going to get out. The people who have excelled today are not people who are sitting, sitting on their chairs all day, watching television or watching YouTube videos or whatever. They're people who have strived, have struggled, have put the energy into it. And so there's darajat. Number 6, you have to come out of your comfort zone if you want to achieve something. And this is a big message from the Battle of Badr. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, كَمَا أَخْرَجَكَ رَبُّكَ مِنْ بَيْتِكَ بِالْحَقِّ. So Allah has made you, has brought you out from your house bil-haq. You want to achieve victory, you have to come out. You have to come out of your comfort zone. Don't expect everything just to happen to you while you are, doing all things cozy and nice and sitting comfortably. You have to be ready to come out of your comfort zone and come out of your house and struggle and come out and go. And that's where victory will arrive, because victory is out there for you to achieve. Number 7, the importance of dua. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds us in this chapter. Allah reminds us in the Battle of Badr, إِذْ تَسْتَغِيثُونَ رَبَّكُمْ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showed that is istighatha, is to turn to Allah, to ask for Allah's help. And that's with everything in life. If you really want to get your victory, you have to turn to Allah. And this is related to the second point that I mentioned, or the first and the second point, which is to believe in Allah and to be associated with Allah. So istighatha, with the correct actions, with the correct linkage, you will rise, inshaAllah ta'ala. And remember that the dua is the weapon of the believer, silah al-mu'min. Although this hadith is a da'if hadith, it's a weak hadith in terms of its narration of transmission, but the meaning is no doubtly correct, because it is the weapon that you have you link to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you have. And that's why even when the Muslims were going on their conquest towards India during the time of the Umayyads, the leader of the army, he said, where is Muhammad ibn Wasi'? Because by Allah, he asked, where's Muhammad ibn Wasi'? Muhammad ibn Wasi' was a great righteous person. They looked for him and they found Muhammad ibn Wasi'. He was in his tent praying, making dua, lifting his finger up and asking Allah. This is a form of dua as well. Obviously, we have the lifting the hands, we have also the lifting the finger, and he was lifting his finger in dua. When they told him about this, he said, the leader of the army, he said, the finger of Muhammad ibn Wasi' is more beloved to me than 10,000 soldiers. See the weapon of the dua, because the finger, if it's connected through the dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then it is powerful. Number 6, victory will come from aspects that you do not know. You might think that, okay, how am I going to get this? What am I going to do? But if you rely on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you turn to Allah, you make all the necessary precautions, Allah will give you the victory from wherever you know. And in the battle of Badr, where did the victory start? The victory came with a few drops of water. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down the water. And when you read the surah, you find that the water that came down was a source of many things. وَإِذْ يُغَشِّيكُمُ النُّعَاسِ أَمَنَةً مِّن, the nu'as, you're feeling tired and slumber, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down the water to remove this nu'as, to remove this slumber, to refresh you, to give you that steadfast, to give you the means of purification. And a lot of things came with that water. So you might be searching for victory in one way, in one place, it will come from another place. Number 9, do not turn your back. If you want to get that victory, you have to keep going. You have to face your fears. You have to face the enemies. You have to face the shaitan. Don't be afraid of him. Don't be afraid of all those things that hold you back. Because once you turn back, it's like turning back in battle. You give your back to the enemy. What do you expect? You're going to get an arrow in the back. And that's why in the context of war, it was always face, don't turn away. And that is not just in, traditional war. Even today, the army talks about, people who are deserters and people who turn away from the battle. You have to, when you're in battle and you're engaged, go forward. And this is a lesson for us in our lives. وَلَا تُوَلُّوهُمُ الْأَدْبَارِ. Number 10 and number 11 and number 12, أطيعوا الله ورسوله ولا تولوا عنه. You have to obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his messenger. We talked about believing in Allah, but here we're talking about obedience to Allah. Follow Allah's laws, follow Allah's rules. That's where victory will come from. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not made things which he has made obligatory except for a benefit for us, which help us in our lives. We know the benefit of salah, we know the benefit of sawm, we know the benefit of zakah, we know all these benefits come to us if we really tap into the obedience to Allah. And the same with the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Whatever he knows of good things, he has told us about, and whatever harm and difficulties there are, he has warned us about. So obey Allah and his messenger, and most importantly, do not turn away from Allah and messenger. Do not think that you will get anything better by going to other sources. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the creator. He sent to you the messenger, so keep there. And that's number 10, 11, and 12. 13, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about our senses, the eyes, the ears, the mouth, all our senses. You have to use them and engage them. Don't hear, don't listen, and you say I hear, but you don't listen. You see, you have eyes, but you don't see, and that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala he frowned on people. A group of people, he said, they have eyes, but they do not see. They have ears, but they do not hear. They have hearts, but they do not understand. You have the senses Allah has given you, make use of them. And that is important as well, because if you shut off your senses, okay, and the senses are not just the outward senses, but there also is an internalized mechanism as well. The eyes will pick up information, but how much of that information is registered? So that's also important in achieving that victory. 14, beware of tribulations, beware of the fitan, beware of the trials and tribulations will come to you. And those trials and tribulations will be in the format of individual difficulties and harms, but they will also be in the format of community harms. They're not going to just, when a trial and tribulation comes, it's not just going to come and affect one person and leave another person out. Very rarely does it do that. It will be something that will fall on everybody, especially when there are community tribulations. So there has to be an engagement with the issues. And I just give you an example today. You know, like we have an example today of knife crime. I know it's gone down with the recent lockdown, which may be one of the positivities of this. But before the lockdown, knife crime, which might be happening amongst a small group of people, the gangs and so that fight each other. But that problem has become widespread. It's affected all society. Now, if society and everybody turned away and said, just forget, you know, let those gangs fight it out by themselves, who cares about them? It will soon affect you. And it might be your son or your brother or your sister who gets stabbed by this ills in society. So when there is a problem in society, we have to all face it together. And that's a part of the gratitude. That's part of the victory that we'll get. Number 15, be grateful. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the middle of the battle of Badr, he reminds them that you have to be grateful to Allah. You don't show your favor to Allah. Allah is the one who shows your favor. اذكروا إذ كنتم قليلا مستضعفون في الأرض. واذكروا إذ أنتم قليل مستضعفون في الأرض. Remember when you were little in number, you were oppressed, you had nothing. Who is it that gave you what you have? And remember you as the individual, remember you were nothing as well. You were a small person, you know, you are nothing in fact. You are nothing in fact. You were a baby having no ability to even feed yourself, to change yourself. Somebody else had to wipe your bottom for you. Excuse me for saying that. But that was the reality. That was the reality. And so look at where you were and look at where you are now. Now that you've become a grown person, grown adult, you think that you are, you know, I don't need my parents. I can talk back to my parents. I can answer back. I can ignore them. I don't need people to give me advice from, you know, my elders. I don't need to listen to my teachers. I don't need to do this. Where were you before? All of a sudden you become arrogant. ضرب لنا مثلا ونسي خلقه. Allah says he gave an example to us and he forgot where he was from, where he came from. So be grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You want victory in your life? Be grateful for those who have undue gratitude. اشكر لي ولوالديك. Be grateful to Allah. Be grateful to your parents. Be grateful to those who have shown you any favors. لا يشكر الله من لا يشكر الناس. He's not grateful to Allah, the one who is not grateful to people. Number 16, do not break the trust. Do not break the trust with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the messenger, and do not break the trust with others. And this is a bigger message here about your amana. Be trustworthy. Don't be somebody who breaks, you know, if you make a promise, do your best to keep it. Don't make promises that you intend to break. Don't say words that you intend to go against. These are the qualities of the hypocrite. They are not the qualities of people who will be victorious. Have your integrity. Be genuine in how you deal with things. Number 17, whatever you gain will return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's going to go back to Allah. So when you have any victory, think about how you can return that to Allah. Pay back. Remember, if you want to receive, you must give. Number 18, you have to be firm and steadfast on your way. Don't falter. You have a plan, stick to your plan, go ahead, go forward. And be decisive as well. And this is all about victories. And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, you know, in the battle of Badr, there was this, you know, there was this amount of indecisiveness. Shall we go and fight? Shall we not go and fight? Shall we go back? Allah, once it was agreed, go forward. And that's it. Be firm. Ithbutu. Stay steadfast. Keep your feet firm. And inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you that victory. 19. وَاذْكُرُوا اللَّهَ كَثِيرًا. Be sure to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala a lot. Don't just, you know, don't just remember Allah a little. Remember, you're associating yourself with Allah. You're linking yourself with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's where the victory is. So remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in your life. And He is the source of victory, because victory is not just about material gains. There is a whole concept of barakah, which is about the things that really, I mean, barakah is quite a difficult one to translate, but it needs explanation. But in a very short sentence, barakah is the kind of things, the kind of bonuses that cannot be explained materially. You know, today we hear about great imams and scholars who lived very short life, but they compiled so much. They left so much knowledge. We hear about people who are able to achieve, you know, great tasks. You know, they might. Sometimes we hear about people who are reading, you know, in the Quran in Ramadan, people who are finishing the Quran every day, some who are doing it twice a day, and you will say, how, that's not even possible. You know, if I read my juz, it takes me, you know, 20 minutes or this and there's that. You try to calculate, that's not how it works, brother and sister. The barakah is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will actually can fold time for you. He can fold space for you, which is something that no materialistic person can actually understand. So you have to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number 20, do not argue. Do not quarrel with others. Remember, if you're set on achieving something and you're out there to get it, don't start to argue amongst yourselves, you know, on a personal, on a community level. And don't argue with yourselves on a personal level. You know, you have you want to have a goal and you start engaging in disputes and quarrels and arguments. What's going to happen? What's going to happen is that you're going to waste time, you're going to waste energy, you're going to waste, you know, the Muslims in the Battle of Badr, there were only a small number of people, but they defeated the Mushrikeen. There were 3 times their number. And in the Battle of Qadisiyah, again, they were 3 times in number. There was great victories happening when we are together and you work together and you're focused and aligned. When you start to argue, as what happened with the Muslims at the time of Ali radiallahu anhu, there was some differences and disputes. There was no progress because the Muslims were fighting each other. They were fighting each other. They were in dispute and quarrel with each other. And that's what happens throughout the world today. When Muslims argue with each other and they dispute each other, nothing happens. Everybody falls back. Everybody loses. There is no winners in battles. You know, there's no winner. Everybody loses. And that's why it's important not to enter a battle unnecessarily. And that's why the Prophet ﷺ said, "La tatamannaw liqa al-adu." Do not wish to meet the enemy because you don't know how things will be. It's best not to meet the enemy. So keep away from arguments, keep away from quarrels. Focus on your own direction and your own way. And if people want to argue with you, just say, "I'm fasting." You know, that's your moral, that's your motto. Okay, it doesn't mean that only when you are fasting. Even when you are not fasting from food and drink, you are fasting from arguments and quarrels and things like that. وَلَا تَنَازَعُوا فَتَفْشَلُوا وَتَذْهَبَ رِيحُكُمْ. Number 21, you have to have sabr and patience. And that's why the Prophet ﷺ, when he taught Ibn Abbas, the famous hadith, "Ya ghulam, inni u'allimuka kalimat," he said, "Wa'lam anna an-nasra ma'a sabr." Victory will come with patience. Because what we have learned from history is that nothing happens quickly. You know, time, you need time. When you want to harvest the fruit, you have to be patient while you plant the seed and wait for the tree to grow and blossom. It will take years. When you want to achieve something, you have to be ready to be patient because that's where it comes. If you have a goal and you want to be victorious in your goal, you have to be patient. Don't try to get things quicker than what they will come to you. And in another narration, وَعْلَمْ أَنَّ النَّصْرَ فِي الصَّبْرِ. The victory comes in patience. That means just having the patience in itself is a victory. It's an achievement. Number 22, beware of that which will nullify your actions. Remember, you are a person for the people. Your victory, the victory of others is a victory for you, meaning that you want the good for people. That is the quality of the believer. Yeah. So don't do things that are going to mess you up. Don't show off. Don't be like those who come out of their houses arrogant and thinking that, yeah, this is, you know, all of this, I achieved it by myself. Don't be like Qarun, you know, who said, "Innama utitu ala ilmin indi." I've got all of this on my own. No, be ready to be humble. And that's why even in Ramadan, when the Prophet ﷺ entered Mecca, How did he enter Mecca? This was such a momentous, majestic moment that he has now defeated the people who had literally thrown him out of his city. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He didn't enter, standing on his horse and jumping up and down and laughing at people. He entered, lowered his head in humiliation and humility to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because he knew that whatever victory came was from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when Allah gives you victory, be humble. Number 23, do not listen to those who bring you down. What we term in Arabic, we term them as thuqala, those who are heavy. They try to always hold you back. You want the victory, they will always make up kind of things. You're not going to do this. You have no way of succeeding. You're going to fail. Close your ears to those people, because those people are just a waste of time. Okay? And if they're close to you and you don't want to offend them, just, speak to them politely and just say it in a nice way. But inshallah, always look at associate yourself with the positive people who can give you that energy to move on, inshallah. 24th, you have to change. And this is all about change. We spoke about change, and something that you'll always hear. And Allah says in the Battle of Badr and in this surah, ذلك بأن الله لم يكن مغيرا نعمة أنعمها على قوم حتى يغيروا ما بأنفسهم. Allah is not going to change things for people unless they change it themselves. The change has to come with you. You have to make that decision. 25, prepare. You have to prepare. وَأَعِدُّوا, Allah says. Prepare. And prepare. If you want victory, you have to prepare. You want to achieve something, you have to prepare. You want to pass your test, you have to study. You want to get a job, you have to get your CV intact, and you have to have the necessary training, etc. And so on. Don't expect things are just going to. Yes, we rely on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and we trust in Allah. But Allah says, do the work. So even with Musa alayhi salam, he's facing, there's this big sea in front of him, and Pharaoh is behind him and the army. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could have just opened the sea and everybody just go through it. But he said to Musa to strike the sea with his stick. There has to be an action. Yeah, hit the sea. You have to do something. Otherwise Allah could just open the sea and the sea could. No, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to show. When the Prophet ﷺ wanted to go from Mecca to Medina, Hijrah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could have carried him from Mecca to Medina, like he carried him from Mecca to Al-Aqsa in a blink of an eye. He was in Al-Aqsa, and Allah could have taken, but Allah wanted to show us again that there has to be work, there has to be effort. So you have to prepare and you have to work again to do that. 26, it's important to, when we talked about avoid arguing and things like that, try to bring people together. And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says there's strength, there's victory in coming together, and the victory in bringing hearts together. And Allah says, هُوَ الَّذِي أَيَّدَكَ بِنَصْرِهِ وَبِالْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Coming in teams, working together, there is nasr. The victory can come there. Because end of the day, we are humans, we are weak, we need the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And lastly, 27, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, was the end of this surah. He tells us about equation of how people can, in terms of warfare, there was an equation that was set out. Initially, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said that, there was an equation of one man or one fighter can defeat 10 fighters. That was an acceptable proportion. But then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, الآن خفف الله عنكم وعلم أن فيكم ضعفا. Allah has reduced the amount, and He knows that there is weakness amongst you. And so now it's one, He made the equation 1 to 2. And what that means is, it means that according to how your attitude and your mindset, you can be anywhere from this. You could be somebody who achieves the same as any other person. Or you could be somebody that can achieve more and 10 times more. You could be 10 times more productive. It's all about the mindset. It's all about those points that I've mentioned to you, these 20 so points that are all embedded in Surah Al-Anfal, which is talking about the Battle of Badr, which is the battle of victory which happened in Ramadan. These are all important keys and treasures. that we have to understand and know, inshallah. So this surah teaches us so much, teaches us about how we can attain that victory in our lives. The stories of the battles I didn't want to talk about today, because I'm sure you can go back to even Google. You'll find in Wikipedia and things, people are talking about all these battles, and you can read the whole story of the battles of Badr, of the conquest of Mecca, of Al-Qadisiyah, of the Battle of Rhodes, of Andalus, etc., etc. But I thought that these were important insights to share with you. You will find some of this in the book 30 Steps Towards a Refreshing Ramadan, in reminder number 16, which is optimize your potential learning from the Battle of Badr. You'll find some of that there, and others I have mentioned here as well. I hope that's been useful. Jazakumullah khair. I'm just going to say a few words in Arabic, because the organizers have asked me to speak these last 5 minutes in Arabic, inshallah ta'ala. Jazakumullah khair. إخواني وأخواتي رحمكم الله وأعانكم على هذه الأيام، وأعانكم على التزود من الأعمال الصالحة في هذا الشهر الفضيل. وبلا شك أن عنوان هذا الدرس كان رمضان شهر النصر، ونحن نعلم أن الله تعالى قد جعل النصر أنواع، ومن هذه النصر والذي تحدثنا فيه في هذه الكلمة على عجالة باللغة الإنجليزية هو ما يتعلق بالنصر، النصر الشخصي أو الانتصار في ميدان النفس. لأن نستطيع أن نتحدث عن المعارك، ونستطيع أن نتحدث عن الغزوات، ونستطيع أن نتحدث عن الإنجازات التي حدثت في هذا الشهر العظيم وفي على مدى تاريخ الإسلامي، لكن الأهم من ذلك هو كيف ينتصر الإنسان، كيف ينتصر المؤمن على نفسه، فنفسه ميدانه الأول. لا نتحدث اليوم عن الانتصار على يعني دول أو على جيوش أو على، إنما الانتصار على نفسك، لأن نفسك هي التي تثبطك وتثقلك إلى الأرض، فعليك أن تنتصر على نفسك. ورمضان يعطينا جميع الوسائل التي نستطيع بها أن ننتصر على أنفسنا وأن نخوض هذه المعركة. عندما تمنع نفسك من الطعام والشراب، فأنت تقول للنفس: يا نفس، عليك أن تطيعي وتنقادي، لأن النفس إذا طاعت وانقادت فإنك تستطيع أن تحقق الكثير. وهذا معنى قوله تعالى: إن تنصروا الله ينصركم. تنصروا الله في اعتقادكم، في إيمانكم، في توجهاتكم، في مبادئكم. إن النصر سيأتي من الله سبحانه وتعالى. ولا يظن ظان أن النصر فقط هو في ميدان المعركة مع الأعداء، إنما النصر هنا الانتصار على الشهوات، انتصار على النفس فيما ترغب. ولذلك كان الذي جعل الله تعالى مأواه الجنة، وأما من خاف مقام ربه ونهى النفس عن الهوى، فالنهي النفس عن الهوى هذا هو سبيل من السبل لدخول الجنة. فعلينا أن نستفيد من هذا الشهر بكل ما فيه من وسائل، من صيام وصدقة وإنفاق وصلاة وقراءة القرآن وذكر وقيادة النفس والتحكم على المشاعر والتحكم على الغضب، ملكة الغضب وما شابه ذلك. هذا جزء من الانتصار. وتحدثنا اليوم في عناصر كثيرة التي ذكرها الله تعالى وخص ذكرها في سورة الأنفال التي تتحدث عن معركة البدر الذي حصل بها الانتصار العظيم لأهل الإسلام في بداية وفي ولادة الإسلام ونشأ الدولة المسلمة التي أنشأها النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. كان ذلك كلها تتعلق في مبادئ تعود ابتداء في الشخصية المسلمة وتركيبة الشخصية المسلمة. وذكرنا جملة كثيرة منها لا يسعنا المقام أن نعيدها الآن مع انتهاء الوقت، لكن هي تتعلق في الأخلاق، تتعلق أولا قبل كل شيء بالإيمان بالله سبحانه وتعالى وطاعته وطاعة رسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم واستجابة لله وللرسول. كذلك تتعلق بالمبادئ الكبرى: الصبر وذكر الله والثبات والاستقامة ونبذ أو ترك البطر والرياء وغير ذلك، نبذ التنازع والإعداد والاستعداد. كل هذه مفاهيم لو رجعنا إلى سورة الأنفال وتدبرنا تلك المعاني لوجدنا فيها المعاني العظيمة التي نستطيع بها أن ننتصر بإذن الله تعالى على أنفسنا، وإذا انتصرنا على أنفسنا حققنا النصر بإذن الله تعالى. جزاكم الله خير وبارك الله فيكم. I'm not sure if time allows us. The organizers can tell us, Brother Nuh, maybe you can tell us if there is time to answer questions or not. I leave the matter with you, inshallah ta'ala.
Jazakallah, Sheikh Umar. If there is any question, inshallah, they're going to send us through our email, which is salam@liverpool.uk. Inshallah, if we have any question regarding this, we're going to email it to you. Oh. Can you hear me now?
Okay. All right, good.
I was saying, if there is any question, please email us through the email salam@liverpoolramadan.uk. And if it's related to this talk, inshallah, we're going to email it to you, Sheikh Umar. And Jazakallah for such encouraging talk of today's. And I just want to remind myself and my brothers and sisters to donate for local masjids. And you can't see it in our websites, الرحمة and التيسير Mosque. Our website is liverpoolramadan.uk. And some of people, they were asking me, where can we pay zakat al-fitr? You can either pay through our website, like donation. It's classified as zakat, depends on the intention, and you can donate it, send it back home or anywhere. It depends on the intention. Also, as I think we already done this, we answered these questions in our fiqh inquiries episode. If you want to go back to our YouTube channel, it's Liverpool Muslim app, inshallah. And I just want to remind everyone to stay tuned for our upcoming events today, inshallah. We're gonna have nutrition guides for sisters by our sister Hind Ahmed, inshallah, at 6 p.m. and at 7:30 we're gonna have our recitation circle as usual by Dr. Muhammad Al-Dubai, and Feed You Soul at 10:30 by our Sheikh and Imam Muhammad Al-Shar'i. And after the competition, inshallah, straight away, after the reminder, straight away, we're going to have competition for our young brothers and sisters by Sheikh Walid. It's about 10:45. Jazakumullah khair for coming through, for watching us, and for staying with us patiently. Have blessed Friday, Jum'ah Mubarakah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.